Okay. Okay, boss, we are again starting with this characteristic value variable with user entry or default. But you understand, when do we use this characteristic value variable, right? So whenever you want to make the restriction dynamic, you go with this here. Whenever you want to make restriction on a characteristic dynamic, you go with what? Characteristic value variable. The restriction could be in filter block or inside a new selection or inside RKF, anything, wherever it is, you can make it dynamic by using characteristic value variable. Okay. Then I have this. I want to fix it to one unit because there are multiple units, right? So that was currency. Yeah? This is fixed restriction. Yeah? So I would like to provide a selection screen for selecting customer keys. Right click, say what? Restrict. I'm going to restrict with the variables. So create new variable. So whatever the description you given, that is going to come as a label of the variable. Okay. And then the technical name of the variable, z, y, where, some name. And here it's where you choose the processing type. I want it as manual entry or replacement path, customer exit or authorization. I want it what? Manual input, so that user would feed the value. And then you get into details now. How is your variable? If you say single value, you get only one text box. You can enter single value. When you say multiple single values, you'll get text box and a button called insert row, where you can insert multiple rows of it. Interval, you can just specify single range. And when I go selection option, I can specify any kind of value, single value, multiple single values, exclude, include, between, range, anything can be specified. And we'll come to this topic later, pre-calculated value set. Okay, don't worry on this one. Then what is this here? Variable entry is what? You understand this optional. Even if without entering value, you'll be able to execute it. When I say mandatory, it is mandatory for it to populate value to the variable. And when I say mandatory initial value not allowed, it means it is mandatory but doesn't allow you for null. Pond symbol is not allowed. Mandatory but pond symbol is not allowed here in this case. I'm just setting this up. And okay, I'll come to this. This is mine. Yeah. Must make sure you get this entry here, variable screen underscore screen equal to x. You get a selection screen. So can I give single value equal to here? Now when I say between, can I give range? Can I give multiple ranges? I'll say insert row, one more range I can give. I can give multiple range. Can I say exclude or include? So when it's a selection option, you can specify the values in any range you want. Yeah? Oh, keyword పెట్టలేదా? Okay. Now after you have run the query and you still want to change variable values, you see a button. What is button here? Variable screen. It does open up variable screen again, and I would like to remove this out. You get to see on. You can change your variable values. Did you understand the selection options? Good. But if you see, every time I run this query, I am specifying some value. But as soon as the selection screen comes up, I want like to fill with some default value for it. So what do I do is, go to this restrict customer key variable. What is here? Edit. Details, you see given mandatory all this, okay. Now what is tab here? Default value. Change default values. You remember we had 9999. I want this customer number as a default value for me. Just to refresh, just always say RSRT, then you see the variable getting filled with this number, default value, and then you get to see this. Okay. Next, now I have variable assigned with some default value. Now if I just give default value like this, if you, can user change this value? I don't want him to change at all. The variable value should run with default, and now user should not change that at all. Yeah? Means I don't want the variable to be shown to the user at all. So the checkbox here, variable is ready for input. Variable is ready for input. If I when this is enabled, the variable screen is popped up to the user. Otherwise, no. If I deselect this, see, did I get the variable screen? So if you deselect this ready for input, the variable screen is not popped up to the user. And if it is not popped up, it actually runs with the default value what is already there. Clear in this checkbox? Yeah. So you're okay with this now? Details and default values was done. Now one more option what I want. Okay, good. I wanted to observe this. It is running with default value, or what user gives some value and then whatever it is. Okay. Now question is then, now it has been showing for 999. I would like to change it to a different customer. Can I change it? Am I able to change the variable value from the filter block bus? Yes. That should not be allowed. I don't want him to do. What are the values he gives in variable? He should see data only for that only. Then what you will do? You will put the same thing into what? What is this? Characteristic restrictions. Okay, right? So you understand the difference between these two, right? When you do restriction here, you can still be able to change the filter value, but if I do it here, you will not be able to change it. Yeah? So default runs with 99999. Now let me try to change the variable value. Can I change it? Within the variable result, you can filter out, but you cannot change the variable value altogether. Got this point? Yeah. So apart from leveraging variables here, I can use characteristic value anywhere wherever my characteristic restriction is used. Okay. Say for example, I have order quantity sales, this totals, yeah? And I would like to show order quantity only for particular year, what my user would ask for. How will I do this? I would like to see total order quantity, total sales amount, then sales amount for a given year, what my user would ask for. If I go to filter and restrict my year, will that, what are the year I given, will that restrict all the columns? All the keywords, right? But what is my requirement? Only one keyword, only one column must be restricted. So can I go with new selection boss? Amount for given year. Amount and restrict with what now? Year. Which year? Which year? 2012 or 13 or 14? Not fixed. So variables. I'm going to be, because the restriction is going to be ఎక్కడైనా మొత్తం query definition లో characteristic restriction with dynamic కావాలంటే characteristic value variable అన్నట్టు. It could be inside filter, inside new selection, inside RKF, wherever it is. Okay. Choose year. Manual entry, single value is fine, and optional ready for input is popped up to the user. Okay, and you get some year. I give it as what? So I'm seeing some, I see this amount for given is blank. Why? There's been no sales amount for 2012. If I give it something like I see some 2004 only for this customer. Why? What does it mean? Only this customer has performed transaction for 2014. We can check this in the cube. I want to say customer, year, and then if you see this customer, majority of them has got data in what? There's one with, look at this. Date అంతా 2004 కి 2014 కే ఉంది, and this customer has got 20713 has got data for 2004 as well as అందుకు 2014 అని ఇస్తే అదొకటి చూపిస్తుంది. If I run this query with as what 2004, obviously you should get data for majority of it. 11185 is how much? 1,08,000 something అంతేనా? కానీ 1,08,000 కాకుండా ఎక్స్ట్రా ఎందుకంటే my unit is, my query is filtered only for unit G, right? Grams. So 1125 54,399 and 5910 okay boss. So basically you can use your characteristic value variable everywhere in the entire query definition. Wherever you're trying to do restriction on a characteristic dynamic, you can go with characteristic value variable, and this is with user entry boss. Clear? Done? Okay. Next, what is replacement path? Okay. Now basically when do you go for characteristic, sub dedicated scenario or not? When do you go for characteristic value variable with replacement path? Let's say you have query 1, you have query 2. So user is just running query 2, but I need a variable which has to execute some logic and collect those resulted customers into my variable. Means when I run my query 2, I have a variable which should get filled with the output of query 1. So when I run my query 2, internally query 1 will run. The result set of query 1 will be input for my variable bus. Got this point? So when you want to collect the result set of another query as an input to a variable, we go with characteristic value variable with replacement path. Okay. Now say that variables is my query. Let's say I'm going to design one query bus. I'll design this query to list out customer keys. Okay. Amount kuda avasam le, and then unit as grams. I am putting it as what? 2014 A customer only 20713 is there. So I have designed this query to list me out customers with my criteria what I want. Yeah? Q1 CUST something. Q1 CUST. Okay, Nana? So I am just listing out the customers for my criteria. This customer list should be acting as input to my variable in another query now. Na query kochi. Now I would like to restrict this customer with the customers as per the output of query 1. Right click, say what is that? Restrict variables, create new variable. Replace customer, just give something ZREP. What is the processing type will say? Replace. When this is done, see this is disabled now. No more details. It has to get it what? No, based on the property what is set in, the next set of tabs are enabled or disabled. When you set it as replacement path, this tab is enabled. Now you want this variable to replace variable with what? Query, okay, and query, which query is it? I would like to replace this variable with the query. Which query is it? Q1 custom. Good. Okay. So if you're using replacement, it must be into characteristic restrictions. Yeah. Because once the results come in, they should not be able to change it. I'm just running this query. This is my year variable, okay. Don't mind. Because this will affect only one column. Why it is just bringing out only 20713? Why not others? So this has been getting restricted with a variable which is filled with the output of query 1 bus. ఇప్పుడు నేను క్వెరీ 1కి వెళ్ళి ఐ విల్ చేంజ్ దిస్ డెఫినేషన్ సో దట్ ఇట్ డస్ నాట్ గివ్ ఓన్లీ 1. ఇప్పుడు నేను ఇయర్ 2004 పెడతా ఈ క్వెరీలో, అవునా? టూ థౌజండ్ 4 పెడితే 5 కస్టమర్స్ రావాలన్నా ఆల్మోస్ట్. నేను ఐ చేంజ్ ఓన్లీ క్వెరీ 1 ఇన్ ద బ్యాక్ ఎండ్. So whenever I run the query, it will run the query 1, collect the output of the query 1 as my input to my variable. This time you get to see 5. Why? Because the query 1 is giving result of 5 customers. అట్లా వేరే క్వెరీ రిజల్ట్ బట్టి నీ వేరియబుల్కి ఇన్పుట్గా రావాలంటే అప్పుడు క్యారెక్టరిస్టిక్ వాల్యూ వేరియబుల్ విత్ రిప్లేస్మెంట్ పాత్ వాడుతుంది. ఓకేనా? డన్. నెక్స్ట్, వాట్ ఇస్ దిస్? authorization as a processing type. అంటే based on the authorizations of the user, we want to control the variable value bus. Okay bus, fine. Authorization is security, because I am connected with what? SAP user. But in the real time, everyone will have different user ID, and every user ID will have different set of authorizations or roles. Authorizations పట్టి వేరియబుల్ వాల్యూ తీసుకోవాలి ఆటోమేటిక్గా. సో దట్ ఈస్ వేర్ we go with what? Authorizations as a processing type. చెప్తా చూడు. నా లాజిక్ ఇది బస్. I'll save this out.